Hey Bill, how are you?
Hey, what's up, man?
Ah, man, so much, so much. How about you? How you doing?
Good, man. Just kind of hanging in there, getting ready for fly out to Dubai here pretty quick and join
What
the
day do you
circus.
what day do you head off?
I leave Tuesday.
Okay, nice,
Yeah, as
nice.
hot as it is over there, shit. They want me to leave on Monday, but I figure I'd shave off a day to save some of that heat. You know what I mean? Fuck,
All
it's gonna
good.
be brutal over there.
Hey, firstly, I wanted to thank you for coming on, and doing this one. What you're about to embark on, Bill, man, it is. I can't imagine what it feels like for you. Like, we'll get into that, but what a match this is, and you get to be the man at the helm of it in some respects. How are you feeling coming into this moment as a referee for what is considered the biggest match in history?
Ryan, be honest with you, man. I haven't gave the match itself a whole lot of thought, as stupid as that may sound. But I'm so busy all the time. I'll probably start feeling a little bit when I get on the plane heading that direction. Um, so it doesn't do me no good to gloat over until I get there. But it's as far as being nerve wracking, I look at it as another match. I'm trying to block out who the match is with.
Mm.
I think I'm more trying to anticipate what kind of mess I may be encountering.
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, I guess that's a good point. As a referee, you've got to try to just not be intimidated by the situation, isn't it? I mean, how long have you been a master referee for?
Oh shit, man! I've been in arm wrestling for about 40 years
Yeah.
as a competitor. I would say master referee with WAF. Oh man, probably about 22 years, something like that.
So ridiculously qualified for it because as you know, it's probably the most thankless job in the sport, isn't it? Like it's brutal and under the
Yeah,
public eye.
and you're right. I think what's the brutal part about it is, a lot of people don't understand the rules that you're trying to proctor, so you get tarred and feathered when things don't go their way.
Yeah,
Um, but it's brutal. It's thankless. I don't know why the hell I do it. I just enjoy it, I guess. And maybe it's the challenge. But again, it's gonna be a brutal match. It's gonna
yeah.
be interesting.
So Bill, to give you an opportunity to get everyone on the same page, the fans most importantly, because we know that Devon and Levan have been at each other about what the actual rules are going to be for this one. We saw contract debates, we saw everything. Can you for the fans' sake, can you give us a guide as to what the rules are going to be for this match?
Yeah. So and I'm instrumental in help setting up the rules. It's not my final decision on what kind of rules we're gonna be running with. I know when Devon was interested in taking the match, it was the KOT1 rules,
Hmm.
which you've seen with Michael Todd. And from what I understand from behind the scene, Levan said he don't give a shit what kind of rules they're going to run. He just wants to rip Devon's arm off. So as far as I know right now, and this is what's weird, you think I know ahead of time because we've got a couple of sets of rules going on, but I'll know what rules we're going to be running with when I get there.
Oh,
But I do know that Devon is probably not going to arm wrestle unless it's the same rules as they had with Michael Todd.
hmm,
And I believe Levon, either he accepted them or not. I don't know if he knew them in advance. I know what KOT is trying to do is send the rules with the contract going forward.
hmm.
But like I said, I don't know if Levon even knows the rules yet because I'll bet you I'm the only one that's got the written set.
Yeah.
So, but the funny thing about the rules is, what I don't get is these guys, if they just arm wrestle like they do when they're with the WAF, there's not going to be any problems with the rules at all.
Mm.
What happens when we're looking at these matches? Some of these guys try to figure out how to beat the rules just to beat their opponent instead of just arm wrestling and beat them. So,
Well,
um,
that's a big question, Bill, and I know a lot of the fans want want me to ask you this question: is when does the match start? like, does it start in as they walk up to the table and the negotiation? Is that in as a referee in your eyes and in your interpretation of rules? Is that part of the fight, or does the match start when you say go? Like, how do you see it?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. The whole objective with ambiguous rules or loose type type of rules is they want to see the match be entertaining.
Mm,
They don't want to use the rigid rules. And I give them a little wiggle room on getting the grip. If I wanted to be super, super firm like we do with WAF, I think everybody be fouling out before the match even happens.
yeah.
So this round is going to be a little different than you've seen at the KOT2 with John and Devon, because there was a couple of big ass gaps in the rules that Devon got away with, and he just done what he does best, understand and manipulates the rules to his favor. I mean, that's
That,
that's
that is
that's
that is
Devon.
one. Yeah, that is spot on. That is one thing about Devon that he'll certainly always just he can pull within any set of rules very effectively, but he will certainly always use the rules as an opportunity to be a weapon in the fight to its maximum limit. And what I feel the pressure of, and I guess I empathize with for yourself and for organizers is you don't want a match to end on fouls, do you? Like it would be a travesty if it just was
Exactly.
three nil fouls done or 6-0 fouls, and because you've got that pressure of you want to keep it to the standard of the rules and you want to keep it to its integrity. But if both athletes are moving, for instance, let's say in a ref script, they're both just not settling. Like, who do you foul? Who do you foul?
Yeah, man, I tell you, I'm anticipating that to happen as well.
Mhm.
So in the rule version, I'm going to have to be a little bit more firm with these guys for the simple fact, on a set grip, you're supposed to be setting up just like if it was a referee's grip, meaning no movement. And you ask the question, at what part does it start? It should actually start when we're trying to get the webbing level and my hands touching their hands. That's when it actually starts. So
Mm.
let's say if we're putting on the strap, there's going to be some wiggle room. We're going to I'm going to do things a little different this time, just to have a little bit more control on what's going on. But after that strap is on and I put my hands up there shouldn't be no moving. Now, of course, there's so much power up on the table. There's gonna be some moving around, and I'm okay with that as long as there's no advantage gain when trying to load back. I don't give a shit if they squeeze their hand as tight as they can, but when they're sitting there floating all over the place, someone's probably gonna get a foul just to settle things down if they sit there and start fishing around on me.
Yeah, because that's the thing is that when strap arm wrestling is it's got more intricacies than non-strap arm wrestling in the sense that a couple of millimeters of torque or a couple of millimeters of webbing height or a couple of millimeters of anything that puller wants can make a drastic difference to the way the shape of the match goes. So these guys are hunting all of that, and
No.
it's usually and I've always been of the opinion that like maybe Todd Hutchins is probably one of the only exceptions to the rule where he just says I don't care what the strap's doing, just let me hold on. Go.
Right, right.
But for an arm wrestler like Devon Larratt, the smallest things really do matter to him. And for Levan in this situation, I feel do you feel like do you feel like Devon is more likely to be the one moving, or do you anticipate Levan to be doing this as well? Or like, do you anticipate tension at the table, emotions high between these guys?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of fire on that table.
Mm,
I never refereed Levan. I've refereed, Devon several times, and it's a challenge. Devon's definitely a challenge. So, if I set the grip and I tell them no moving, and one of them starts moving around where I kind of lose control of what's going on, I'm just going to give them both a warning, and whoever moves first the next time where I can't control it, they're going to get the foul. So,
do-
and again,
as a referee,
the beauty. Good.
sorry, you go.
Yeah, I was going to say the beauty about the KOT is they get three fouls instead of two.
Yep.
So if the puller, and again, if the puller's just arm wrestle like they're in a WAF match. Shit, my job would be easy, but I can't see that happening.
What is your opinion about that in general? Like where the sport's at, the entertainment versus the pure rigid WAF. Um, we're in a different season because of the internet and that. Where do you sit on that sense? Do you like where it's going? Or do you want it to be pure rigid? What's your preference?
Well, as a professional referee, rigid rules are the easiest to referee. And you don't get tarred and feathered
Yeah.
as badly just for the simple fact most people know what them rules are. But the rigid rules. The thing about arm wrestling, and this is just my aspect of it, is if you see it on TV, if you see it on the internet, it's relatively boring unless you're an arm wrestler. You could really engage in it. So it's got to be, as far as my aspect, it's got to be entertaining for the new people coming in, the new spectators watching, and they don't understand. If they see a little elbow come off the pad, they don't understand that can't possibly be a foul. But the guy that's a seasoned arm wrestler, he definitely knows that. So there's got to be a fine balance, and that's why we kind of looked at the running rules as well. We want the match to go on
Yep.
to the tail end. The running rules gives a little bit of flexibility. If they do get a foul, you don't stop the match.
Yep.
But it's just who's going to be taking the advantage of it. And, as far as my aspect, I think it needs to start being a little bit more entertaining for the simple fact we're getting new eyes on the sport, with the likes of what Larry's been doing and, what Ingen's been doing. It's starting to legitimize some of the stuff that we've been wanting to see for years.
Yeah, absolutely. So that balance is the challenge, isn't it? Now, I
Ooh,
think I don't
man,
think
that's tough.
I don't think Levan has pulled under running fouls before. I could be wrong, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. So this will be interesting for him now, specifically on the running fouls. Is that's confirmed that running fouls are part of the match?
Yeah, yeah. So, right now we're still in talks. The KOT1, we had a set of running fouls. It was kind of hybrid from Neil pickups.
Mm,
Um, KOT2, well, I tried to change the rules up a little bit. The rules didn't go out to all the players. So when we done the rule briefing, it wasn't the same as the KOT1. So Devon blew a liver and we had to change it back. But you know, there's a reason why he blew a liver too, with the staking and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what,
Yep.
that's what he put it out as. But
Mm,
yeah, I think, we've got some flexibility in KO21, but again, it's how it's going to be proctored and what gets thrown at me when I get up there.
mm. Now, I'd love to ask about a lot of the fans want to know about the King's move rule. And because a lot of people are anticipating Devon to go for the King's move, which wouldn't be out of the question with the power of Levan and a strap. King's move and the humorous. Are you able to explain for the fans how you're going to be interpreting that rule?
Yeah, the King's move, the way we've got that thing rating is let me go two different ways. The way the King's move was implemented, you might say in the WF, is when the shoulder drops below the elbow pad um, in a neutral or losing side of the table. Now, what part of the shoulder? I mean, are we talking the top part, the middle part, the bottom part? So that was just basically a judgment call on what part of the shoulder you're going to be calling. So what we did was the king's move in a neutral or losing side of the table when your humerus starts to decline towards the body. Not so much drop below the elbow pad, but the arm declining. Now, what I've done in the past with these guys, because I hate to see these guys foul out on that, is give them a warning. And the warnings don't count as the fouls like they do in WF, but if they start to drop down, I'll give them a little warning to come up. Some people got a problem with that because they say, hey, you give 2, 3 warnings when it should have been 2, 3 fouls. So,
Yep.
these guys know when I go to the road briefing, I'm going to let them know that, if you drop your humerus in a declining position, it's going to be a foul, no different than if your elbow's coming out of the pocket because you don't get warnings for that.
Hmm.
So we're gonna count the king's move when that, again, the humerus starts to decline towards the pulling body in the neutral losing side of the table.
Okay, so that will attract
So
a running foul if that happens or something.
yeah, exactly. The running foul is more on the elbow side of things. Um, we're going to be discussing a couple things when we get up there as well.
Mm.
But yeah, so the thing about it, Ryan, is when we start looking at where that foul happens. Is it a losing position, which would be a loss? Is it a neutral position, which would be a restart? Or
Yeah.
is it just going to be a foul as a running foul? So it'll get a little sticky.
Oh man, yeah. There's so much, and this is where the pressure comes in. And I know you handle it well, Bill, straight off the back. But man, the pressure on you for, and again, I come back to it, and I know you touched on it earlier, saying you're fine, but um, when you've got two guys that, like, to these athletes, this is big. For Levan, it's like this is conquering the world. This is the final step in him being done. He said, "Look, I'm done. I've conquered everyone there is to conquer." And for Levan and for Devon, it's like achieving the impossible that everyone says can't be done. Um, it means a lot to these guys. Uh, so how do you, in the pressure, in the heat of the moment, do you feel like shit? I've got to make a subjective call here. Um, what goes through your head when you make a big call like that?
Yeah, this may sound stupid, but when I referee a match, I don't even look at I try not to consider who the pullers are. That just
Mm,
helps me keep in track on, proctoring the match itself.
yep.
But, I'm going to call what I see. A lot of referees, if some of them call with the assumption that they've seen something. I'm more programmed where if I see it, I call it. If I don't see it, I ain't gonna call it. I don't care who it is. So
Mhm.
someone's not gonna be happy. They know the rules. And like I say, I'm just trying to proctor the damn things the best I can.
Yeah. Do you feel any weight of responsibility for the league in its direction and the way it's represented to the fans?
Say that again now.
D-
Do
Do
I
you
feel
do you feel
responsible?
any do you feel any pressure or responsibility for delivering an end product to the fans? Like I imagine you don't want to end matches on fouls. Like if it was in a silver bullet round and it ended on a foul, like there's got to be like, do you again? How do you handle that pressure? Because you want to call it as it is, but you also, for the sake of the sport and the rep and the organization, you don't want to end it on a foul. Like how do you balance that? I don't know what I don't think there's an
I
answer to
know.
it. I don't know.
I know that's tough. As far as I'm concerned, we got a set of rules that we're trying to proctor. um, Someone that can be happy, and what puts a lot of pressure on things is staking thing.
Yeah,
People put a lot of money on this damn thing. I don't even know how the staking thing works. I would never bet on arm wrestle just because I'm a referee. I never even hit the staking site, but
yeah,
that's a lot of pressure as far as making the right call for the simple fact that uh, a lot of people put money on this thing.
yeah,
Um, Now, where the other pressure comes in is for me is yeah, I care about the fans. I care about what people say, and I care about what the arm wrestlers are getting presented to them. I'm also concerned about if you do a shitty job, it doesn't do any favors for the KOT. So I'm just going to call what I see, and if it's the thing about making these calls is you could do 100 things right and not hear a damn thing about it, but you do one thing wrong, holy shit, you're tarred and feathered and made fun of and
yeah.
scrutinized and man,
And
that
it's unfair. It is unfair. It's completely
yeah,
unfair.
exactly,
Because at
yeah,
the end of the day, a lot of people, fans will blame the referee, but the onus has to be on the athletes. At the end of the day, the onus is on the athletes. They know where the rules are. They know that they're going to push the boundaries. And look, if they push them too far and they cop a foul at the worst possible time for their moment, they have to ultimately take responsibility for it. They just do, and the fans need to see it that way too. So, but I hope I hope it doesn't end up there. But I can understand.
yeah.
It's
No,
nasty.
I got you.
Yeah.
I
So
got
this
you.
match, so Bill, this match coming up. Obviously, you got an undercard on as well. You'll get to warm up with Marcio and Irakli and those guys as well. Corey and Alex Kadecha. That's a massive match. I don't know if you got a strap long enough to get around those two hands or what.
I tell you what, I'm glad you mentioned that because I did anticipate because the straps, the standard straps, man, if they're about 2 inches shorter, I'd be in big trouble. So,
Yeah,
I use lion straps, and I reached out to them. I said, "Hey, this is what's coming up. I need you to
get a
make
long
this
one.
strap at least 6 inches longer for me." So I got
Yeah,
4 special straps just for these guys.
yeah, that's a good call. That's a very good call. Because
Yeah, because
there's some monsters in the room. Well, Bill, I won't keep you too long. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to really to kind of clarify for everyone where things are at. So, is there anything, any sort of final messages you want to pass on to the fans as we come into this historic weekend? Um, yeah, any last words?
yeah, again, my job as a referee, especially is going to be very difficult. Um, And where it gets even more difficult if we start changing up the rules and this guy's going to use this side of rules, this one's going to use that set of rules. But know that I don't care who wins the match. I don't care if it's my mother on the table. She's going to get the same type of refereeing as if it was a stranger. And that's just what I roll by. And some people can't accept it because they say I didn't follow the rules or they don't know the rules. But I got big shoulders and I got to take the scrutiny as it comes.
Awesome. Well, Bill, thank you so much for what you do for the sport. Thank you for coming on the interview. I wish you well for this upcoming match. Yeah, I hopefully the athletes are perfectly well behaved for you. It's highly unlikely, but
Cool.
hopefully they
Boy, I tell you, that'd be nice, Ryan, but I highly doubt it. And
yeah.
like I say, the KOT's doing some pretty spectacular things, and I appreciate them have the confidence that I could do the job that they expect to do. And again, I'm just going to try to proctor the match as the rules present, and we'll see what happens.
Good stuff. All right, Bill, thank you so much and take care with your safe travels, all that sort of stuff, and we'll all be watching.
All right, man. Thanks, bud.
All right,
Take care. All
bye.
right, bye.